YouTube channel up. YouTube's telling me I need internet, which I do have internet. I'm talking to you. So we're going to have to do this cold. I'm not going to be able to see anybody's comments on the YouTube screen. Hopefully you found me because I got to continue this instruction here. So to make this slightly cooler brown or rich, it's slightly richer brown, it was 1 part autumn flame, 2 parts of the cocoa ember brown, 1 part of the opal red, and 1 part of the sparkle red. And it made the most beautiful brown that we're going to end up using here in this piece. Hopefully it looks like somebody found me. I don't know if everybody did, but sorry about that. The internet is having troubles. Yeah, I think you're right. There's reindeer on my wire, was what somebody said. Woohoo! Yes, reindeer on my wire. Santa Claus. So again, there's how I mix that other brown. We're going to use them in this piece. And I have kind of a surprise for you. Hopefully you like this surprise. I did it with a paper towel. Today I'm going to be more fancy and try it with my cosmetic sponges. And let's see if this puppy works. Okay, so there's that brown. That's brown. I got to get this stuff ready. Get all this stuff out of the way. I've got my Harvest Moon. I don't need the Autumn Blaze. I need this color. Lavender Dreams. The pink. Okay, so I started experimenting with the concept of using these minerals like a pastel. Can I burnish them into the surface and create these? And that's what you saw up on the website. I sent out an email campaign. Actually, I need to put one of these up on the website. When I framed this in put it in a room, in a frame in a room, it looks so pretty on the wall. And this is just the minerals on the glue burnished in there, and then some primary elements added in, which is very exciting. Okay, here's another one that I did. That was the first one I tried. This one I got a little more experimental. I'm really loving that combination. And boy, this flippin' Lavender Dreams is so gorgeous rubbed in there like that. It just gave me so many possibilities. And so I wanted to show you first how I made these browns on the bottom, because this was a custom made brown and this is a custom made brown. So now who the heck is somebody's knocking at my door? I'm going to try to ignore them. Who's there? Hopefully it's just UPS or the mailman leaving something on my door. I don't think I really have an Amazon delivery. Sorry, guys. That's the only thing that's unexpected is you can't stop people coming to your door in the middle of a live. So how I did this, I've got a slightly bigger canvas, but I want to start on the panels. Canvas panels are very stiff. They're a canvas back. Who's there? Excuse me. Who's there? I'm not. I am in the middle of filming a YouTube live and I'm not interested, so.
Oh, is it for Beverly? Is that the right address or no?
No.
Oh, okay.
Wait a minute. What's the last name?
Beverly, let me see. Beverly, Point Oski?
You're at the house she used to live
Oh,
at.
okay. So she's at the Serena address.
Yeah,
Okay.
the son is my landlord.
Oh, I see.
So, and I'm in the middle of filming a YouTube
Okay,
live.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, sweetheart.
Sorry.
Oh my goodness, guys. Sorry about that. I think Santa's reindeer really is messing with us right now. My landlord's mom had, I'm just going to come on and explain what happened. I know, but my landlord's mom, she's got dementia. She's not well, and something happened with some sort of blood clot. I mean, they're going through something terrible right now. That was the home health nurse thinking she was coming by to take care of her because this was her previous address. Hey, Evie. So ringing the bell because she thought she was trying to be here for a patient and maybe the patient couldn't come to the door or whatever. So sorry about that, you guys. Anyway, I'm back. Twice now we've been interrupted, once by the internet, reindeer on my roof. I love people's thinking, yep, it's reindeer on my roof, right? Okay, so when I thought of this, I got really excited, had to run right over here and see if this thing would work. I mean, here we're burnishing on ceramic. Why won't it work on canvas? Can I create like a landscape effect, right? So I wanted to show you how to mix some of your own custom colors. I had a suggestion by a friend who said, write a book with all the color combinations and sell that little book for, $19.99 or something. And so the people can have the actual recipes. And by the way, I cannot connect. Oh, it looks like YouTube's suddenly up now, but it's telling me I've got to set up my account. I am not touching my computer because I'm not going to risk us kicking this off. So anyway, it's going to be hard to see right now. I wish I had something underneath this. Let's get some of our glue applied. Now I am looking for possibly a better glue. Okay. There is, and Judy, Fairy Art Mother, our fabulous Fairy Art Mother, said, there's some glues that'll stay tacky until you actually use it. And there's other glues that have like a 24, 48, so much of a shelf life, and then it's not tacky anymore. So I started looking at glues, seeing if we can find them at less expensive price, because Mona Lisa can be pricey if you buy a little bottle. But it's really not that pricey if you're, of course, I got my fingers all over this, so it's not going to be perfectly white. But one thing I did learn was apply the glue evenly in the piece that has the warm tones. The glue kind of dripped down and created a drip pattern. So while I did the whole thing and layered it all on, you can do that, and it was fun. You may decide that, hey, you want to get a little more elaborate and do a section by section. And I'm loving the little lines in the glue. See those little lines in the glue I'd like to leave naturally, so it's creating some kind of wave. You probably can't see that. See those little lines in there, that little line in there? I'm also thinking of what if I put a little tiny gel medium, just a little strip of gel medium here and there in two spots. So there's a place where where it rises up, right? And then I've got a little more height and dimension to the piece. But this was the first test of saying, what if I burnish these on, and can I get a landscape effect, like an abstract, right? The what ifs started coming. So again, I've got a nice, perfect little line down there, but I don't want to tilt it. I want to keep this straight. I don't want to have a bunch of glue. It's very juicy. I don't want the glue to run down by my hand. I kind of want to leave it flat. And I don't know, I may be able to tilt this on another canvas, but the thing about doing this is you want to be able to have it flat where you can burnish it, but I'm going to try really hard to not have drippy lines on this top piece. It's going to mess with my horizon. So I'm getting it nicely covered with glue, so we know that every inch of it is covered, and it's a sizing glue. I'm using Mona Lisa, but if you look up sizing glue that they use for gilding and foiling, it'll work. Okay. So I see a couple spots where it still looks like the canvas isn't really completely saturated. I don't want to miss any part of this. So now I try to do this technique on the vase. You really got to go on a round object. You need to do it in sections. That's all I can say. That's my advice. On something flat, you can get away with putting the color all down. So I've got a nice thing of color, a generous amount. I mean, of the glue. I'm going to do another one right now. So this is ready. So we can do a second one and that second color combination so I can show you what I did. Give that first one a chance to dry. I'll get the blow dryer out here in a minute, and the blow dryer will set it really fast. So you can actually do a second burnish, do a section, and then burnish again, if that's how you want to do it. Now, I really want to do a big canvas like this, but I felt, first of all, show you what happens when you're on a canvas board where you have the most control. And then I have a practice canvas that's 5 inches thick, depends on how much time it takes to do this right now. And then after that, I want to do something bigger and maybe have some texture in some areas and have color rubbed on and burnished in others. But when I saw how gorgeous this was, I had to show you guys. Oh my God, are you kidding? It's a new way to use these minerals. Otherwise, I'm going to go, okay, what sparkly paint do I have to paint today? And what bloom or, you know, what flower I'm going to paint? What am I going to do with this paint? But this opens up, like I said, a whole brand new world. Okay, I'm going to try to create some purposeful lines in this one. So I have some patterns. Okay, I'll let this now. My water, where my glue brush is, it's a little, believe it or not, a little bit of water and some pine sol in it. I don't know why I used it's a little stronger than just regular soap, but it keeps the glue from messing up the ferrule of my brush. So far, so good. I like that little bit. There's like, you know, a half a teaspoon to that 6 ounce jar of water. And let's get my blow dryer out here. Cover your ears, everybody. This is interesting. Where it's drying, I'm seeing some spots. If it's drying too quickly, I feel like I need to put some more glue on there. We'll see if it sticks. This is the only bummer with the lives. I wish I could speed this up and you not have to hear the sound. There's still a couple of wet spots you can see. Okay. All right, so I've got my stuff in layers. I don't need this. I don't need the sparkle red. I use that to make that color. I could try to burnish it on this canvas so it sits up a little higher for you to see. The thing is it may, you know, we are pushing down a little bit harder and that could actually hurt the canvas underneath it. So All right, so what I did is, well, that's great. Where's my fan brush? So we've got the glue and the fan brush. Now you can get any kind of fan brush. I've kind of become addicted to this one. This has a slight little slant on it. It's not a perfect straight one, but it picks up the pigment nicely, okay? And I have some, to my side, I have some little cotton swabby thingies if I need them. And I have cosmetic sponges, and I have my spray bottle, okay? So let me get this out of the way so no powder goes flying over there. So this first layer down here, I'm going to do that monochromatic warm one. And I started with, believe it or not, I think in that one, I started making sure that some of the color was blocked out in the sky. Yeah, I wish my ring binder is, it's usually right behind me. Good point, Donna. I normally have it right here. But let's see how this works. Okay, you got a point. I even got a little wooden, like a baby canvas that you can do watercolors on, and it would tilt this thing up. It's wood, but it would work. Okay, so I'm brushing this warm brown, and this was the warm brown made with the 4 parts orange, the tangerine, and 1 part blue. So I can decide where my pattern is, where I want this shape to go. So I kind of want a little bit of a curve here. All right, then I don't need the pink yet, but I do need this. Now I made that custom peach. I'm going to try this custom peach, even though I'm absolutely in love with this color. I want you to see this color too. So this is, if you have Harvest Fire, if you're lucky enough to have some, which we sold for a very long time. See how pretty that color is? So I'm going to put a little Harvest Fire in here. Try to get a little line of the Harvest Fire, right? Go up a little bit. And then for a surprise, we're going to use some primary elements. And it just happens to be Harvest Moon. I didn't mean to have Harvest and Harvest. Can you tell I like the name Harvest? It's a telltale sign. I'm going to use a little primary elements in here, which is a really bright orange when it's moistened. And let's try just burnishing what we've got so far. Let's see how this rubs in. You can also use your brush to keep going back and forth, rubbing it up, how high you want it to go, how low you want it to go. Now, the brown, I'm going to show you this darker brown, but I think I ended up going a little bit higher with the peach. We're going to do this other one since we made this custom color. This is that flash rose red and the lemon head yellow. It's going to be darker than the one we're used to using. Yeah, see, that's going to add a lot of color to that one. We do it right. It's a lot of powder, Leslie. I went a little overboard. Let's see what happens. If I get a little bit too much on, can I tap it off? Yeah, tap off. That's kind of interesting. I want to put some more of the Harvest Moon here, the primer elements. No, I'm liking that new color combo. It's really nice and bright. I want to go back to the other peach. Use the stuff we used for the Harvest Fire. It's a different, completely different shade. And I have some, they call it Sunset Glow, but it's sure pinker than my normal Sunset Glow. This is a primary element. And I'm just going to streak some of it into this Harvest Fire. Just give it a little bit of a streak. Make it kind of interesting, right? Now, what I did do, and I'm going to do with you, even though it's going to take a bit, I want to go through every one of them and make sure the powder is pushed into every single crevice. So I'm taking my brush and making sure that there's no blank spots. That's so far what I've done. Has decent coverage. If there's anything I can save, I will, but I first want to make sure it's all been used, right? I don't want a blank spot here. Now, this is a part where I really am still learning about this thing. I want to protect my skyline. And I'm in love with this frosted blush. I mean, is that what we called it? Yeah. To me, it's an interference peach. And they only came out with this in the last couple of years. It's still a fairly new color. But look how gorgeous that is as part of my sky. Doesn't have to be a blue skyline, right? And I'm going to add some of that new yummy pink we just made. Where is that? I'm going to add some of that yummy pink right here. Kind of bring it down. And there's some excess powder here, so I can lift up some of this powder and move it down. I don't want to waste any of it. See, I still think I should probably do it this way. I can pick up the excess, rub it in right there. So I'm getting this nicely even distributed, right? Very nicely even. A little bit more pink coming down. That's giving me a nice little wisp. I'm going to go a little bit further down with this peachy interference color. Now, this will probably be a surprise, even though, let's see, we've got some Harvest Moon, a little bit of Sunset Glow, the new peach. I want to see what happens if I add a tiny bit of Georgia peach. This is another primary element, even though it's a bigger flake. Will some of that take in there? Because it's where do these colors meet? And this Harvest Fire color is so stinking beautiful. I just really want to have an ample amount of this because it adds such a beautiful sparkle to anything I'm doing. Okay, so one more time, let's double check our powders. Do I have every area covered? Anything I can tap off that isn't going to taint my existing stuff? It looks like I've got some loose powder here. I can rub around a little bit. Loose powder here. All right, so let's do a little bit of some magic. Let's get these tops on. If I don't do this, I'm going to make a mess. So I got to get the tops on. Same thing with my Harvest Moon top, even though I might want more of it. We'll see. All right. So now I'm going to take my brush, my cosmetic sponge, and still kind of pushing everything, make sure it's burnished, rubbed in nicely. It's kind of pushed all into the glue. Yeah, it looks like it is. All right, little surprise for y'all. I'm going to take a clean cosmetic sponge, spritz a little water. I'm doing it off camera because I don't want the water on my canvas. So my sponge just has a slight bit of moistness to it. And now we're going to have a little play with where we put the Harvest Moon. So I can wet that primary element and rub it right in there. You see that? Same thing here. I think that's, yeah, that's Harvest Moon here. So I'm not going to do the whole thing wet. I'm just doing the sections. Or I know I added the primary elements. I think there's a section right here that has that sunset glow color. Let's give this new one a little one a mist. I don't want to get the orange and transfer the orange into that sunset glow. So I think right here, I have to remember where I did it, is some of that sunset glow color. Even if you're going over the top of the mineral with just water after you burnished it in, it does deepen the shade of the color that you're working with. Okay, here we go. Here's that Harvest Fire picking up with that sunset glow. Look how crazy that is. Now, this looks like it missed, but I kind of like that it missed and it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. I still have to figure out what I'm going to do with the top. I feel like I should tap off that excess powder. Give it a chance to really give me a nice little whoosh in the sunset and where the sunrise or whatever that is that's up there. Just want a little bit of moisture on this, just a tiny bit, flipping it over. Now this is just that new color that we made. This is that new pink color that we made. But I'm going to take a moist sponge and kind of move it into my sky so it lightly blends. So you can use the water on all of it, but very carefully. I recommend you do it carefully. Now on the one that I did that had it right when it's at its moist point, which it is right now, I took and added some Lavender Dreams right in this one section while it was still moist. And it grabbed it for me. It added an extra little bounce of and the Lavender Dream and the Grape Sorbet and that Pinky Diamond are very transparent. Does it look like a desert sunset? Good. Good. Now, I might want to leave that pink sky the way it is, just with that. I know I shouldn't overwork it. They say never overwork things. But now, when I got done with it, I wanted a little more depth on the bottom. And so I want to show you what I did. I ended up taking that warmer brown, right? And making sure my brush had nothing on it. Adding just a little splash of the warmer brown on this bottom section. And then I moistened it. And I'll do it with the clean one so you can tell that there's no added color to it. This is just a clean one with a little moisture on it. It will deepen that brown and give me a little variation. So that darker brown comes up as a different color because there's different minerals in it than the one below. So I'm getting a different shade of brown by using that and moistening it. So what do you think? I haven't seen any comments, but then I'm so focused on what I'm doing. This is really pretty. I'd love to do a huge one of these and have it framed on my wall. Sparkles like diamonds. Great way to use your minerals. Yeah, great way. I mean, I could see a really big one there right on the wall, and it does look like a desert sunrise sunset. hitting all the sunset notes. You see, so there's the two shades of brown. There was the harvest, so there was that harvest fire. Then I used our new pink that we made. Uh, the orange primary element, a little orange primary element, a little bit of the sunset glow primary element, and then when I moistened my pink color, I could sprinkle some of the lavender dreams on, and because it's translucent, yeah, I like that sky, and I'm going to leave it alone. If I'll blow it if I overwork it. Okay, so now I got to do the other color combination. So yeah, did that one, guys. I'm dying to do a big one like this. You know, I do these tests, and then yeah, here's the thing. I'm with Janelle. She says it opens up possibilities. Think of using these like pastels, okay? I will be playing with them, making a clay out of them. I do want to come. I brought some rocks in here to do some custom rocks and glass, but I knew we'd run out of time. I have my polyfiber paper sitting next to me. I'm curious what happens if I do this to the polyfiber paper, which I haven't, come back to that. Um, well, the interesting thing is if you let this thing set for a good 24 hours, of course, my fingers are doing this. You've got to keep your fingers off of it or keep burnishing it there. Not very much is going to come off, Eve. And I mean, it's not like you're going to put it on a wall and tell people to go rub their finger on it. Right here where I put it on the moist part, there's a little risk. But same thing with the ceramics. Once the glue has grabbed it, you burnished it, it's become part of it, very little is going to come off because the Mona Lisa glue grabs it like it's like you're leafing. I think so too. Very uncomplicated way. You can do something with any age group that you want or yourself. To me, it's very relaxing. Another way to use your stuff. And we can get into all kinds of possibilities. But since I have one more already glued up, let's do one more combination, right? Kind of show you how I did the other one. Not to bore you with the same color combination, but if you say, look at what I did, most of the time people are going to show me how you did that. I want to know how you did that. So instead of on the bottom, I'm cleaning up my space here, getting my sponges out of the way. My peach is where they belong. I just have this thing about putting everything back in its place before I start so I can find it. Otherwise, I will make a mess. Now, in this one, I used the heather and the peacock plume on the bottom. But it was, and here you can see where I use a little bit more primary elements and color, but let's see if I can, there's glue on that one. Just thinking for Evelyn's sake. These have sat for a bit. Something will rub off because it looks really glitzy. But here where it looks like it's permanent, a little bit's coming off. But do people really come up and, touch your paintings once they're hanging on the wall? I don't know. You could cover this with epoxy if you want to. You can probably find some light spray fixative. I would do something that isn't going to take away from the beauty of this. But the concrete, when you're rubbing these things with the Mona Lisa glue in the concrete, it's permanent. Yeah, just a little spray varnish, just a spritz. I would do the one at the distance, like, 18 inches away and 12 inches away, and that's it. Don't get too close. That way, just those particulates seal what's on the surface. And you're not necessarily... So my very first experiment, I'm looking at these two here, of the warmer combinations. Here was my first experiment. This is the one we just did. So I've gotten a little bit more out of my head and experimented more with the whole wavelengths here. See what we can do. That's what they feel like, musical wavelengths, or sky or sea or whatever kind of pattern we're looking at, sunset. It's abstract. It's all abstract. So let's get all this stuff back where it belongs. All right, let's get the heather out. And the plume, I don't have small containers yet of all of these, so I apologize. I'm using these big containers. This is the peacock plume. This is the heather, even though I don't need that big of a container. Get my brush as clean as I possibly can. Yeah, Seaside Sunset. She's right. So I'm going to take a little heather on my brush and just kind of mock out. See, like this, Evelyn, it doesn't even feel like any's going to rub off. It's so little going on there where I'm not, doing piles of it. But when you start switching back and forth, of course, I just love that peacock plume on this glue. It rubs in so pretty. And again, you can do section by section. You don't have to color the whole thing like I did. Let's get some more of the peacock up here. Add some violet here. It is very freeing. This is very relaxing to do. Pick up as much powder as I can to get over to this other area so I don't have to reapply. There's plenty here that I can distribute. I move around with this brush, right? Also, I like to let the powder sit for a bit and let that glue grab as much as it can before I tap anything off. Let it go for the gusto. Okay, so there's a beginning. Now, what do I want to do? When I went above this, I went right into the peaches and the pinks. I kind of did the same thing. Let me get my purple out of the way and get my turquoise. I think I'm just going to put a tiny bit more of the peacock right here. And let's go for, what's next? Let's try our new pink. What did I do with that container? Oh, we're sitting on it. That new pink is very pretty. This peachy pink that we made. Looks more pink than peach, but we know it has some yellow in it. It has 1.5 spoons of yellow to 4 spoons of that rose red, pink rose flash. Same thing here. I'm going to add some primary elements at this point. I really like what that Harvest Moon does when it blends in with these colors. I love that orange. It's moving through there. I'm going to take some of the actual Harvest Fire, which I get. You guys are going to have to find another color to substitute that. I got so many peach colors. There's the Glasswing Butterfly. There's the Pod Padarasha. There's several that we've used, but me personally, this color just makes my soul so happy. I love that color. I want to use it all the time. And I know if I get some back, believe me, I'll have a little. If I have a little bit for sale, you guys will know, but it'll be really limited. I might say I've got 10 whole jars. Get them while you can, because some of the minerals that we've got are from a regular supplier, so we know we can get them all the time. And other ones are from off suppliers that I bought 2 or 3 years ago, and we're going to have to find out. Now, I want to use another primary element. This one I didn't use last time. I don't know how dark the Carnival is going to be. And this flakes are a little bit bigger, but I kind of want to throw a little bit Carnival right here. I don't know if it'll rub in or if there's any glue left. And a little bit of the Carnival right here. It's a red. It's a pinky rose red, even though it looks very wine as a powder. And I'm going to put some Carnival here just to give us a little bit of difference when we start playing with that water. And then the that Sunset Glow color. I think I'm going to do kind of the same thing to the sky because I like what that frosted blush did to the sky. I'm sure there's plenty of other interferences and lighter shades. Now, if I made my own blend, I could make my own beautiful sky blue if I wanted to, or any kind of blend I want. But right now, the fact that I have this frosted blush, I love that it feels like an interference peach. And I have several of these containers, so we got plenty for sale. Might as well show it to you again. I'm going to get the excess off before I get going crazy on it. Leave a little spot. And I think we use the Sunset, the new pink on the other one. This one, I'm going to use some of that Sunset Glow. So it will stain it. Hope I don't blow this one because the last one, I really liked how that sky turned out. I'm just going to add some more of the peach in here just to kind of give it a little block. But let's go back to that custom pink that we made, that pinky peach that we made. Kind of put a little fire in our skyline. Now it's time to sit and look at where's the powder. Now there's quite a bit here. There wasn't much glue to stick, but because I know that's a primary element, I'm pushing that right up there with the line of the primary element. So when I wet that, I'm going to release that primary element. You know, it's going to wake up and give us color. That's a lot of the frosted blush right there. I'm going to see if I can get any more distributed on the edges before I get to burnishing this. Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. When I wet that section up here, I added the Lavender Dream. Well, I'm going to wet this Carnival and see if I can't get a sprinkle of Lavender Dream. I think this is also a primary element color. I know this is, that's that Harvest Fire. And I think I got another primary element color right here. I'm just for grins and giggles, just to be safe, I'm going to make sure there's some Sunset Glow. So this one has a little bit more primary element to it. Let's see what happens when we use both of them together. This one should be a little bit more colorful than the last one, but that's okay. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Well, thank you, whoever said that. You're a total sweetheart. Yes, we appreciate that. Thumbs up help. So I'm going to take, this is just a cotton swab. It's a little bit better than a paper towel. And just where I've got this pure blue, I'm burnishing that right into the glue. Making sure that's rubbed right into the glue. Same thing here. I'm going to get the peacock plume and burnish it in. I'm being very careful, trying not to blend the purple and the turquoise together yet. Okay. Now a little bit, I'll push out this purple. But this section has some primary element in it, so I'm going to moisten my little sponge. Squeeze any excess in there just on one side. So one side's almost completely dry. One has a little bit of moisture in it. And let's see what happens when we wake up that color. Oh, it's so close to the other one. Let's see what happens if I go to the next one. That purple and that red didn't do too well together. That's interesting. I think they fought against each other. You can see it. Let's see what happens with that. Oh, here we go. Yeah, that color going to the primary element with the custom color that we made. That's not bad. This is kind of interesting what it's doing, but I'm not going to fight with it. Let it create some color. I've got one here where I used for the harvest moon. So let's go with the sponge that had the harvest moon on it. The risky part is using a lot of primary elements and hoping that it's going to be compatible with what you're doing, right? But I'm loving the ideas of the two of them. I'm going to just keep overworking this section and everybody can laugh at me. It's changed that color there. And I'm thinking, while it's moist, can I reapply some of my peacock and get some of my turquoise back? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I'm just going to let that sit and not rub it and let it soak up what it's going to soak up. You're seeing it live, all the experiments live, kids. Let's tap this excess off. And now let's see what these sponges do. That Carnival is a pretty strong color. That's what created that issue there. Carnival has so much red, it didn't like how purple the heather was. Let's see if the Carnival is pretty with that peach color there. Ooh, look at that. Oh, I'm not mad at that one. I'm liking how that's rubbing into that peach color. Carnival's pretty strong. It's a real strong red. Pinky, peachy red. I don't need to keep moving it up because I don't want to make the whole thing Carnival. And while that's wet, I'm going to add some of the Lavender Dreams on here, which is going to soften that Carnival color. See, the Lavender Dreams and the grape sorbet are translucent, almost like as if you were using a diamond color, one of our interference diamonds, which I love that because then you've got more translucency and more light refraction. Okay, let's see what happens when we're using our new pink, and this is, oh, that's, I think I have a lot of water. Oh, there we go. Don't overwork it, Leslie. I have a tendency, I think a lot of us do, to overwork things. I'm going to try to add a little bit more of my peach back, just a tad. Oop, that's a lot. I don't need that much. Just a little bit, so it evens out. Oh, that's not horrible. This color is very interesting. I kind of need to not just have it be a blotch on there. I need to follow through with it. I think a clean sponge will help, and just a tiny little bit, so my path is clean all the way through, and I wonder if it'll work that way. Looks like it belonged there. There we go. Yeah, that Carnival red with that violet's kind of it's reacting very differently. And then a tiny bit of my plume. Again, you guys can yell at me for overworking now. Just bringing that back into a line so it looked like it belonged there. Huh, that's not too bad. Now, oh, look what's happening to the sky. Did my spray bottle get on there? Can you guys see the little bubble texture on there? I think the spritz bottle did something. Do I have another clean sponge? Yes, I do. I don't know whether I should leave those bubbles in the sky. Look at that. They look like bubbles in the sky. It's interesting, but just to be safe, the harvest moon is kind of acting up here, needs a little love. And this is up to you. You're going to keep looking at your piece until you think it's finished. I have a sponge here with a tiny bit of water. I'm just going to lightly smooth out those bubbles. I didn't mean to have that happen. Tiny bit more water on my thingy. This is my first experiment on live with you guys. I've only did those other 2 little tests before. But I think rubbing that out will soften it a bit. And then it looks like this mist here. I can rub in some of my Pretty Harvest Fire. There we go. And fix that up. I mean, you can finger paint these things to your heart content and have a lot of fun. But there is matte fixative to answer Eve's question that they use for watercolors, and it probably wouldn't affect it. You just use a really light spray of it. Hi there, Sorceress. How you doing, honey? You're watching us use the specialty minerals, basically, and primer elements as pastels and rubbing them into the Mona Lisa glue. So there's the second one. Let's see, where's our first one? I'm in love with this guy on the first one. It's just, I like that little spot where it just became inconsistent, right? But that really does look like a desert sunset. And that's more of a tropical, whatever. Somebody had a great name for it in the beginning. I'm still not liking this little break right here between those colors. I think when it dries, I might be able to fatten it up and add a little bit more of that blushing color. I don't want to overwork it while it's moist. So, Seaside Sunset. Yeah, you guys came up with that idea. Yeah, Seaside Sunset. This was the original Seaside Sunset, my first attempt. Here's our second attempt. This is fun. It's easy to do. It's just some glue and a little bit of minerals, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for hanging in with me while that home care person came to the door, but that's pretty important that she know that her client doesn't live here anymore. And she wasn't going to stop knocking. So anyway, Merry Christmas. And Merry Christmas Eve to everybody. I hope you have a beautiful, joyous day. And I know that Kate's almost there. It's Christmas Eve there, late evening where it's morning here, but it's Christmas everywhere in the air. I already watched Love Actually again for the 100th time. That's probably not 100th time, but I know I make sure I watch it every year. I think Hugh Grant is amazing. And now that when I see Kate on there, I think of every kind of movie and TV show that I love that is from the United Kingdom, because Kate's from the United Kingdom. So they're already celebrating their Christmas Eve evening. And I can't see everybody's names who's on. When I tried to get on YouTube, it kicked us off. So I hope you guys have a great Christmas. Love you guys. So the business, I didn't talk about it the entire